At the turn of the 20th century, Madison was a small agrarian town of 19,000. In 1901, a local group launched a campaign to rapidly expand the size of the small city, with a goal of increasing the size of Madison to 40,000 inhabitants by 1910. This group called itself the 40,000 Club, and though they were not successful, their efforts laid the foundation for Madison's future expansion. One of their major accomplishments was bringing the U.S. Sugar Company to Madison's east side. The 40,000 Club saw industrialization as the key to expansion, and in that spirit began recruiting businesses to the area. Many of these businesses, like the U.S. Sugar Company, found their home on Madison's east side in the early 20th century. The 40,000 Club played a large role in developing Madison's east-west divide that persists to this day. The west of Madison became home to the university and many upper-middle-class households, while the east grew more industrial and was populated with working-class families. The U.S. Sugar Company thrived for 2 decades until the mid-1920s, when the price of the beets they used to make sugar skyrocketed and lifted tariffs on foreign sugar reduced the price of sugar dramatically. The company was no more, but its building still stood, vacant, for now. A few years passed before an intrepid young industrialist named James Garver acquired the former U.S. Sugar Company building. He envisioned a feed and supply company founded upon innovative production techniques and centrally located among some of the United States' finest farmland. His company, the Garver Feed and Supply Company, succeeded beyond all expectations, even as its competitors, one by one, succumbed to the turmoil of the Great Depression. James Garver used techniques he developed as a student at the University of Wisconsin to create feed blends with different nutritional values targeting different livestock. Garver's strong business sense kept his company profitable for nearly 40 years, all the while providing hundreds of jobs on Madison's east side. Only with Garver's passing in 1973 did the Garver Feed and Supply Company begin to experience business difficulties. The company was put into a trust for its workers, who ran the company themselves. This method was ultimately unsuccessful, and the company closed just a few years later. But the building remained.
Conceived with the definitive purpose to contribute to the growth and industrialization of the city, and to house the ambitions of the inhabiting entrepreneurs and agricultural enterprises, the Garver Building has deteriorated as its sense of purpose has declined. Although the city now claims ownership of the property, it has not assumed responsibility for its maintenance. Since being abandoned, the building has suffered a fire. Exposure to the elements and the natural processes of decay have resulted in a dilapidated interior and exterior, and the property has devolved into an overgrown junkyard. Among the first groups to co-opt the abandoned building were vandals who continue to abuse its facade, and artists and writers who have romanticized its, quote, picturesque decrepitude on a network of blogs, some of which promote disdain for the man-made, or the purposed. For example, a webpage titled Delicious Decay features images of the Garver Building and describes itself as celebrating, quote, abandoned places and things, not abandoned people. We are looking for rust, corrosion, and decay, not tears and broken hearts. Paradoxically, this resistance to human purpose is reflected in proposals for repurposing the building. In 2006, prior to soliciting rehabilitation and reuse proposals from local businesses, the city requested opinions from members of the surrounding community. The resulting meetings yielded volumes of transcripts entailing input from nearby residents, entrepreneurs, recreationalists, Old Brick Botanical Gardens, environmental agencies, and city representatives. The property readily became a blank screen onto which limitless desires were projected, perhaps inevitable when the people fantasizing about its future are not the ones responsible for its transformation. A central theme of these discussions, however, was returning the property to nature and minimizing human impact by founding a commune of sorts, which would include, among many other features, small-scale gardening and farming to yield locally grown and distributed produce, educational programs, camps, and guided nature tours all organized around the principles of environmentalism, and similar programs to promote the arts. These features have been incorporated into the final rehabilitation and reuse proposal accepted by the City of Madison. Interestingly, many of these features undo the unity of industry and agriculture established by the building's prior occupants. The winning rehabilitation and reuse proposal attempts to remedy this tension between the natural and the man-made by publicly promoting the renovated building as a designer showcase of, quote, sustainable building practices utilizing recycled materials and renewable energy. In addition, there will be a hostel and small natural history museum to attract tourists interested in learning about, quote, living green. But the building's primary use will be as an arts incubator, where local artists can get studios and gallery space at subsidized costs, where local arts organizations, for example mentorship programs for youth, elderly, and the disabled, can centrally relocate and share resources, and where community members can watch and interact with artists, as well as participate in collaborative art projects, attend tutorials, and partake of apprenticeships. Although the property's reincarnation recalls its inception by being envisaged as, quote, a community and economic development project that is a crucial factor in attracting and retaining an educated and creative workforce, there are crucial differences. Whereas the 40,000 Club saw Madison's future in the encouragement of free enterprise, its current animating ideology diverges radically from the individualism, entrepreneurship, and industry that imbued the building with purpose long ago.